The champagne flute trembled in my hand as I stood before 200 guests at the Riverside Country Club. My brother Adrian sat at the head table, his arm draped possessively around his fiancée Victoria, that same self-satisfied smirk playing on his lips that I'd seen too many times before. "Before we toast the happy couple," I said, pulling out my phone, "I thought we should all hear something special. A recording from 2 years ago that perfectly captures the bond between siblings." Adrian's smile faltered. "Just slightly. Just enough." I pressed play. His voice filled the ballroom, crystal clear despite the background noise of the hotel bar where I'd secretly recorded him. "Tomorrow's the big day, boys. My precious little sister finally gets her fairy tale wedding." Laughter from his friends. "Too bad about the food poisoning that's about to hit the catering staff. Amazing what a few $100 and some ipecac can accomplish." Gasps rippled through the room. Victoria's hand flew to her mouth. The recording continued. "Your big day is ruined, just like you deserve. Little Miss Perfect finally gets to see what disappointment feels like." I clicked stop. The silence was absolute. "Cheers to karma," I said, raising my glass to Adrian's ashen face. "And to Victoria. You deserve to know exactly who you're marrying." Victoria stood slowly, her engagement ring catching the light as she pulled it off. She didn't throw it, didn't make a scene, just set it carefully on the table and walked out, her heels clicking against the marble floor in the silence. The room erupted. But to understand how we got here, to this moment of perfect, devastating justice, you need to know about my wedding day, and about the 30 years of cruelty that led to it. Adrian was the golden child from birth. 3 years older, blessed with my father's height and my mother's charm, he could do no wrong in our parents' eyes. I was the afterthought, quiet, bookish, perpetually in his shadow. He weaponized that shadow early. When I was 6 and lost my first tooth, Adrian convinced me the tooth fairy was actually a tooth witch who would curse me if I didn't give her all my Halloween candy. When I was 10 and won the school spelling bee, he accidentally spilled grape juice on my certificate. When I was 16 and had my first boyfriend, Adrian told him I had a contagious skin condition. "Just joking around," he'd say when caught. Siblings tease each other. "Don't be so sensitive, Rosie." My parents always bought it. Boys will be boys. He's just being protective. You need to develop thicker skin. So I did. I developed skin so thick that I stopped telling my family about my achievements, my relationships, my dreams. I went to college across the country, built a career in biomedical engineering, found love with James, all without sharing more than the bare minimum with my family. Which is why Adrian was shocked when I announced my engagement. "Little Rosie's getting married." He'd laughed at the family dinner where I'd shared the news. "To an actual human man, not one of those lab experiments you're always fiddling with." "His name is James," I said calmly. "He's a pediatric surgeon. We've been together for 3 years. Adrian's eyes had narrowed. In our family's mythology, he was supposed to be the successful one. The one who hit milestones first. The one whose life everyone celebrated. 3 years, and this is the first we're hearing about it. My mother clutched her pearls. "Rosalind, how could you keep this from us?" I wanted to be sure, I said, though the real answer was, I wanted to keep something Adrian couldn't ruin. But I'd underestimated him. The wedding planning started smoothly. James and I wanted something simple minus 150 guests, garden ceremony, reception at the Fairmont Hotel. My parents insisted on contributing, thrilled to finally be part of my life again. Adrian appointed himself unofficial wedding coordinator. "You need help," he announced. "You've always been scattered, Rosie. Details aren't your strong suit." "I design medical devices for a living," I reminded him. "I think I can handle a wedding." But he wore me down with family pressure. My mother. "Let him help, sweetheart. He planned that beautiful fundraiser for his company." My father. "Adrian has connections. He can get you discounts." So I let him in. Just a little. Just enough. The sabotage started small. Vendors would call to confirm changes I hadn't made. The florist nearly ordered lilies, which I'm deathly allergic to, because Adrian had updated my preferences. The band almost learned a playlist full of songs from my awkward teenage years. Each time, Adrian played innocent. Miscommunication. Trying to help. "You said you wanted lilies, didn't you?" I started documenting everything, keeping vendors on a separate email chain he didn't know about. I thought I was protecting myself. I wasn't protecting myself enough. 3 days before the wedding, I was at my bachelorette party, a quiet wine tasting with my closest friends, when my phone exploded with texts. The catering manager, half my staff just called in sick. Food poisoning outbreak, we might have to cancel. The florist, your brother just called to cancel the entire order. Please confirm. The venue coordinator, Mr. Morrison says you're postponing. I need to hear from you directly. I excused myself and called Adrian. He answered on the first ring, bar noise loud in the background. Rosie, how's the party? Not too wild, I hope. Wouldn't want you hungover for the big day. Adrian, what did you do? What? I can't hear you. I'm out with the guys celebrating my baby sister's last days of freedom. I hung up and called James. We have a problem. We spent the next 48 hours in damage control mode. James's sister knew a backup catering company. My maid of honor had a cousin in floral wholesale. We confirmed and reconfirmed every detail, password protected every vendor account. But Adrian had one more card to play. The morning of my wedding, I woke up to sunlight streaming through the hotel windows and my phone buzzing with a text from an unknown number. It was a photo of Adrian at a bar, surrounded by his friends, all raising shots. The timestamp was 2:47 a.m. The caption, to ruining perfect little Rosie's perfect little wedding. My hands shook as I scrolled to the next message. Another photo. Adrian handing cash to someone in catering whites. Then another, him on the phone grinning. The final message was a voice recording. I played it with my heart in my throat. Your big date is ruined, just like you deserve, Adrian's drunken voice slurred. Finally get to see Princess Rosalind realize she's not better than the rest of us. Not smarter. Not special. Just lucky. And luck runs out. The messages ended with, thought you should know what your brother really thinks. He's been bragging all night. I'm nobody, just couldn't stand listening anymore. Good luck today. I sat on the bed, staring at my wedding dress, as rage crystallized into something colder. Clearer. I forwarded everything to my email, then called my tech-savvy cousin Mark. I need you to help me save some audio files. Multiple backups. Cloud storage. Everything. Rosie, you okay? I will be, I said. After today, I will be. The wedding itself was beautiful. The backup caterers were actually better than the original. The wholesale flowers looked stunning. Adrian showed up late, clearly hungover, wearing sunglasses inside the church. Rough night? I asked as he took his place as groomsman. You know me, he said with that familiar smirk. Always celebrating my little sister's achievements. Yes, I said. I do know you. During the reception, he gave a toast. Called me his baby sister who always tried so hard. Joked about how some of us are born graceful and some of us have to work for everything. The crowd laughed politely, uncomfortably. James squeezed my hand under the table. We could play it now, he whispered. No, I murmured back. Today is our day. He doesn't get to be the center of attention. So I smiled. Danced. Cut the cake. Threw the bouquet. Let Adrian believe he'd won whatever sick game he'd been playing our whole lives. But I kept the recording. Saved and backed up and waiting. Because I knew Adrian, knew his patterns, knew that someone who needed to sabotage his sister's wedding would eventually have a big day of his own. I just had to wait. 2 years passed. I focused on my marriage, my career, my life. Adrian and I barely spoke beyond mandatory family gatherings, where I was politely distant and he was smugly superior. Then came the announcement. Adrian was engaged to Victoria Ashworth, heiress to a hotel fortune, and the exact type of woman he'd always dreamed of landing. Beautiful, connected, and wealthy enough to make him feel like he finally won. The engagement party invitation arrived on expensive cardstock. Black tie. Riverside Country Club. A who's who of society guests. We don't have to go, James said. Oh, we're going, I replied, fingering the flash drive where I'd saved the recording. We're definitely going. I bought a new dress. Had my hair professionally done. Wore the diamond earrings James had given me for our anniversary. The ones Adrian had joked were probably fake because biomedical engineers don't make real money. We arrived precisely on time. Not early enough to seem eager. Not late enough to make an entrance. Just present, part of the crowd, until the moment was right. Victoria found me at the bar. Rosalind, I'm so glad you could make it. Adrian talks about you all the time. I'm sure he does, I said, genuinely liking her. She seemed smart, accomplished, unaware of what she was signing up for. How did you two meet? Charity fundraiser. He outbid everyone for a dinner with me, she laughed. Spent $20,000 just to take me out. Said he knew I was the one the moment he saw me. More like he knew your net worth the moment he Googled you, I thought but didn't say. He's lucky to have you, I said instead. And meant it. She was lucky too. Lucky I was about to save her from a lifetime with someone who viewed relationships as competitions and love as a weapon. The moment came during toasts. Adrian's best man had just finished a rambling story about their college days when the microphone was passed around for family. I stood. I'd like to say something. Adrian's eyes narrowed slightly, but he gestured magnanimously. Of course. Everyone, my sister Rosalind. We were just talking about how she couldn't make it to the engagement dinner last month. Work obligations, you know. There had been no engagement dinner, no invitation. Another little dig, making me look like the absent, uncaring sister. I smiled and took the microphone. Family is so important, I began. It shapes who we are, who we become. Adrian certainly shaped me. Taught me to be strong, to document everything, to always have backup plans. Nervous laughter from the crowd. Adrian's smile tightened. Before we toast the happy couple, I thought we should all hear something special. A recording from 2 years ago that perfectly captures the bond between siblings. I pulled out my phone, connected it to the sound system with a cable I tested earlier. Adrian started to stand, but Victoria put her hand on his arm. Then his voice filled the room. Clear, undeniable. Damning. I let it play all the way through, the planning, the bragging, the cruelty, the cash exchanging hands, every horrible word. When it finished, I looked directly at Victoria. You deserve to know exactly who you're marrying. Someone who would sabotage his sister's wedding for the crime of being happy. Someone who takes pleasure in others' pain. Someone who sees love as a competition and family as obstacles to overcome. Victoria's face had gone pale, then red, then pale again. She looked at Adrian, waiting for a denial, an explanation, anything. That's out of context, he stammered. I was drunk, joking around. Rosie, how could you? Cheers to karma, I said, raising my glass. Victoria stood slowly with a dignity I admired. She removed her ring, a massive diamond that probably cost more than my wedding, and set it on the table. I need some air, she said quietly, then louder, to the room. The party's over. She walked out, head high, leaving Adrian gaping at the head table. The silence stretched until someone, I think it was my cousin Mark, started a slow clap. Others joined in. Not everyone, but enough. I handed the microphone back to the stunned DJ and returned to my seat. Ready to go? James asked, pride shining in his eyes. Almost, I said. Adrian had stumbled over to our table, his face contorted with rage. You vindictive. Careful, I said calmly. Everyone's recording on their phones now. Do you really want another video going viral? He looked around, saw the raised phones, the watching eyes. Why? He asked, and for the first time in our lives, he sounded genuinely bewildered. I'm your brother. No, I said. You're someone who happened to be born into my family. Brothers protect each other, support each other. They don't spend 30 years trying to diminish their siblings' light because they're afraid it makes their own look dimmer. I made you stronger. Abuse doesn't make people stronger, Adrian. Surviving it does. And I survived you. I stood taking James's hand. Good luck with the fallout. Oh, in the hotel? They charge a 50% cancellation fee for parties over 100 people. Victoria's father owns the venue, so I doubt you'll get a family discount. We left him standing there, surrounded by the wreckage of his own making. The aftermath was swift and brutal. The video, because of course someone recorded it, went viral in our social circles. #wedding Sabotage trended locally for a day. Victoria gave an interview to a society blogger about dodging a bullet and the importance of knowing someone's character before committing. Adrian lost more than a fiancé. He lost his reputation, his social standing, the carefully constructed image of the charming, successful older brother. Our parents, forced to confront evidence they couldn't dismiss as sibling teasing, finally saw him clearly. How could you? My mother asked me at a family dinner a month later, just the three of us, Adrian notably absent. Your own brother? How could he? I countered. My wedding day, Mom. He tried to ruin my wedding day because he couldn't stand to see me happy. She had no answer for that. Adrian moved to Seattle. Started over with a new job, new circles, new people who didn't know the story. He sent me an email 6 months after the party. I hope you're happy. You destroyed my life. I responded. I didn't destroy anything. I just showed everyone who you really are. The destruction was all your own. He didn't write back. 5 years later, I still have the recording. Not out of spite, but as a reminder. A reminder that staying silent in the face of cruelty isn't strength. It's complicity in your own diminishment. That family isn't an excuse for abuse. That sometimes the best gift you can give someone is the truth about the person they're about to marry. Victoria sends a Christmas card every year. She married a cardiac surgeon who, by all accounts, adores her. Her notes always end the same way. Thank you for the best wedding gift I never knew I needed. James and I have 2 daughters now. Sometimes I watch them play, the older one naturally taking charge, and I intervene when teasing crosses into cruelty, when just joking becomes just mean, when sibling rivalry threatens to become something darker. Because patterns repeat unless someone breaks them, and sometimes breaking them requires playing a recording at an engagement party while 200 people watch a bully finally face consequences. Adrian thought he'd ruined my wedding. Instead, he gave me the evidence I needed to save Victoria from a lifetime of wondering why her husband took such pleasure in her pain. He gave me the proof our family needed to finally see past his charm. He gave me the moment when I stood in that ballroom, watching karma unfold in real time, and realized I wasn't his victim anymore. I was just his sister, and I finally taught him what that was supposed to mean.